Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and this is where I talk about crap about whatever the crap I want. I was told by a friend in my last video that the whole pyjamas thing I had going on was quite cozy looking and that I should do my next video with a cup of tea. And I thought that in my pyjamas obviously, and I thought that would be a very good idea. But today, it's the day after Easter, I'm recording this and I'm feeling a little woozy from a lot of chocolate and I'm not really feeling having some tea right now. And I really like this outfit I'm wearing, so I wanted to show it off somehow because all I really did was go to my sister's house in it because I can't go anywhere else. So I thought, yeah, I'll record my video in it. Might as well show off my cute outfit to other people. What I want to talk about today is related to LGBT representation in media again. I can't remember the last time I tackled this topic. I would say it was well over a year ago. But what we're talking about now is about LGBT villains. What sparked me to want to make this video was that I was watching a review. I was a bit late to it because it was posted like a month ago, but a channel I watch called Kenny JD does a series called Bad Movies in a Beat, where she talks about bad movies while she puts her makeup on. And she actually did a video defending the film I Care a Lot. And I haven't watched the film I Care a Lot, but I know that the main protagonist is very unlikable, but that's supposed to be the point, I think. That's the point of the movie. And there was a lot of contention about the fact that she's a bad person, she's a villain, and she's also a lesbian. And people were saying that it perpetuated stereotypes of lesbians being women, men hating, extreme feminists, you know, TERFs, white feminism, all that kind of thing. And where I understand where that mindset comes from, I don't agree with it, and I'm going to explain why in this video. I am not qualified to go all the way back in time and do an in-depth discussion of queer coding in villains in media, because it is a thing and it has happened. Ursula, for example, from The Little Mermaid, was based and designed off a drag queen, and there are many other examples in, well, any movies, TV, books that kind of exemplify the fact that they have used queer coding to try to encourage in kids that queer people are the villains. Where I never watched The Little Mermaid as a kid and thought, well, Ursula's based off a drag queen, obviously drag queens must be evil, they're all going to try and steal our voices. I do understand where the thought process comes from, where people realise that certain characteristics of gay people were implanted into villains in a lot of children's media to kind of, I think the intention was to perpetuate an idea that queer people are villains, but I don't think it really worked. It might have worked, that's in my personal experience obviously, but I don't think it really, that's not to say that it hasn't worked for other people and didn't have an effect on other people's lives. So I understand where people are coming from when they don't like LGBT villains in that sense, because there is a history of companies doing this, like Disney, to kind of, you know, give off the gay bad vibes to the children. It's always to the children, except, you know, they try to give these bad vibes about gay people to the children while not allowing children to see LGBT people, because apparently that's going to affect them, but they're perfectly alright with affecting them in a negative way towards us. But, you know, that's in history. Or is it? I don't know. Like I say, I can't go into the whole history about it. If it's still going on, I wouldn't say it's going on as strongly anymore, but it was definitely a theme back in the day, in like around Little Mermaid kind of time, early noughties as well. I'm sure there's plenty of videos that do that. I'll link a few in the description below, and we'll leave that kind of topic there. But the reason I wanted to mention that, because I do understand where people come from when they're kind of worried that having LGBT villains in any type of media is kind of just bringing back the queer coding that was happening way back when LGBT people weren't as visible as they are now. The reason I disagree is because what we're looking for now, when LGBT people are a lot more accepted than they were even 10 years ago, 10, 20 years ago, is that we're looking and we want representation that is equal to the representation that heterosexual people have had since since film, TV and books were invented. Being gay doesn't eliminate you from being a bad person. You're perfectly capable of being a bad person or a villain if you are gay, trans, lesbian, bisexual. You can still be a bad person, and there are cases of stories out there where there are gay people who've committed crimes or been the bad guy, And I feel like those stories have just as much of a right to be told as the ones about the heterosexual people who are evil and committed crimes and done things wrong, because if we are unafraid to show the stories of the heterosexual people who are bad, then we shouldn't be afraid to admit that, yeah, there's gay people who are villains too. And I think that does more to humanise us than demanding that no bad story is ever told involving an LGBT person, because it perpetuates a stereotype that we're all like that. Because nobody watches anymore, nobody watches like a documentary on Ted Bundy and think, well, see, that's what all straight people are like. They're all going to get women in their cars and kill them. Because we know that that's not how it works. We don't think that Ted Bundy represents all heterosexual people. And yeah, sure, there's probably going to be a lot of people who think that the stories of gay people who've committed murders do represent all of us, but are they the kind of people that you want to be kind of interacting with anyway? Are they the kind of people that whose opinion you really care about in the first place? Because anyone who kind of thinks that, they don't really seem worth your time anyway. We deserve to have representation in a variety of ways. We want LGBT superheroes, we want LGBT villains, we want LGBT anti-heroes, LGBT people whose morals are in a grey area. We want a variety of representation. That's what I thought that our fight for representation in media was all about. I thought that's what we wanted. We wanted to have a variety of varying different degrees of character represented in movies, TV shows, books, theatre, etc., whatever else you can think of, because that is the representation that heterosexual people have had for like forever. Like, we don't think, oh, let's not make that heterosexual person a villain because the audience might think, oh, that's what all heterosexual people are like. And I would say that the people who would think that that's what all gay people are like in the first place are probably the older generation anyway. The generation that are being pushed out, and the generation whose views are so old and crusty that the only people who really still believe in it are people who have extreme views on a lot of other things as well. And I would say that we outnumber them a great deal. The way I see it is that as long as the media isn't portraying the gayness as the root of evil, then there shouldn't be any problem with it. Like, I don't have a problem with it. As long as the whatever it is isn't saying like this character is evil because they are gay, or this character is evil because of their lesbianism, then I don't see what the problem is. If their sexuality isn't being portrayed as the problem, then it shouldn't matter what their ambitions are, what it is that they bring to the story, what it is that they are doing in the plot to kind of contribute or take away from the goal of the protagonist or the antagonist. Whatever the story is, it shouldn't matter. Worrying that what other people are going to say with a generation-old view that all gay people are evil is just going to stunt representation more than it's going to progress it, because nobody is going to believe that every single LGBT person is positive and great and we're all heroes and we're all great and it seems more deluded to me to think that than it is to see a varying degree of representation showing all kinds of degrees of character on screen, in books, I keep saying that, in media in general. For every killing, stalking, there can be a red, white and royal blue. For every the miseducation of Cameron posts, there can be I care a lot. There should be a wide variety of representation of us. Or that's what I want anyway. My villain in my book, The Seven, I would describe him as a pansexual man. Like, he doesn't care. As long as it's very complicated, but he's in a group of 7 people, and as long as whoever he's with is one of the 7 people in the group, then he doesn't care. He doesn't care about gender, sexuality, whatever it is, he doesn't care. And for him, his sexuality, I didn't really pay much attention to when I was writing him as the villain, because honestly, I think focusing on that kind of thing kind of is the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing anyway. We're supposed to be trying to normalize having LGBT people in books and on TV, and I think focusing on trying to make your gay characters the best people they can be, so that no one else thinks that this is what all gay people are like in real life. It's just going to take away from, one, the story in general, definitely the character in general, and it's just a tired old thing to be worrying about. You're worrying about what other people are going to think. Why care what other people are going to think? Because I see things sometimes about gay people and about lesbians in particular, and because I'm a lesbian I sometimes think, wow, people actually still think that way, and I feel sad for them. I feel sad for them. I don't feel upset or angry. I feel sad for these people who still think that way. And I actually appreciate storytellers that are able to put aside sexuality and write a character where it doesn't matter. Because it shouldn't matter. That's the point. That's what we've been trying to do for so long. We're trying to make it not matter. Not all LGBT people are good, as well as not all LGBT people are evil. And it's the same for heterosexual people. Not all heterosexual people are evil, and not all heterosexual people are good either. People are complicated, and we want to be represented as humans. You shouldn't be thinking about a character's sexuality when it comes to what their goals are, or what it is that they're giving to the story. And there's a whole complicated thing about I Care a Lot where it's written by a man, and I don't want to get into that because I do have opinions on that kind of thing, but I'm reading a book at the minute where I feel like that conversation would kind of fit in better once I finish it, so I'll probably do that then. But all I'm saying is that sexuality shouldn't matter. And anyone who is perpetuating the stereotypes in your head that you're worried about, people thinking that evil characters are, no matter whether they're gay or straight or whatever, these people aren't worth your time anyway. When I see a gay villain, I don't think, oh well, they made them gay and villainy. They're trying to like portray an idea that all gay people are evil, because I don't think about that kind of thing. I actually think, hey, that person wrote a character and they decided to make them gay, and they didn't make that their entire personality. They didn't make that the reason why they're evil. Like I said, as long as they're not like writing something like, oh, their gayness is the root of their evil, then what's the problem? Don't worry about what other people are gonna think. Like I say, they're not worth your time. Anyway, that's it for this week, guys. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the comments below. Follow all my social media if you like. Buy my book if you want. Don't do any of that if you don't want to. I don't want you there if you don't want to be there. And I'll see you next time. And remember, don't worry about what other people think. If they don't agree with you, or they think all these ridiculous things about you or your sexuality, then they're not worth your time anyway, okay? Just move on, leave them behind, because they're definitely way, way behind.